Geek Dad Life presents Toy Geeks, a live toy talk show. Today we're going to talk about the reveal of the HasLab Ghost Rider Engine of Vengeance vehicle and whether or not it's worth its $350 price tag. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toy Geeks. My name is Jay, and with me, as always, even when we got to set up for a toy show, is my good friend John. John, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's always a good day when you're setting up for a toy show.
I love setup day. It's my favorite day of a toy show. And John and I are setting up at the local Raleigh toy show. What's called Inside Pitch Promotions toy show. So if you're in Raleigh this weekend, come check it out. It's not the greatest toy show ever. It's like baseball cards and Hot Wheel cars and toys, and toys may make up like not even a third, maybe a fourth of it at best.
Yeah, probably a fourth.
But still, it's fun. It's great to see all of our toy dealer friends, and Keith, who watches the show, is there too. So I've already spent way too much money on toys, but that's what's fun about it, right?
Yeah. Setup day. You get the early pickings.
Exactly. You get the
best
first
part.
pick. But that's not the most exciting thing happening, because we have a new HasLab that was dropped by the Marvel Legends team at Hasbro, and we knew this was coming with a Ghost Rider vehicle of some sort. John, I think you telegraphed that it was going to be this Johnny Reyes Dodge Charger-ish vehicle, and I think that's what a lot of people felt, because it's the only thing big enough to quantify or qualify for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of threw that out.
Mm-hmm.
I figured the car, but we also threw out like a multi-motorcycle pack, just sort of a Ghost Riders through the years.
Yep.
And now we know what it is.
So it's not toy anxiety. I was out of town this week, and whenever what I did this week is revealed, that will blow people's minds. Anyways, we'll tease more as time goes on here. But yeah, so they decided to go with this vehicle. And John, first thoughts on this reveal, on the entire package. We'll talk about price in a second. But what are your thoughts here on just the actual HasLab itself and everything that you get?
I mean, it looks cool. I'm a huge Mopar Dodge fan. This is right up my alley.
Yep.
In that aspect, I'm not. I know very little about Ghost Rider, but it's fun. It makes for a good display. The LED lights, the flames. There's a lot there. I mean, I like it. I think there is a lot to like about it.
Yep. No, I agree. I think there's a lot to like here. But I do think we have to talk about, well, before we talk about the big elephant in the room with this set, that $349.99 price tag, let's say hello to the chat. I didn't do that yet. I apologize. See, it's this midday thing. It always messes me up. Jay Andrews here, Mike Hex, That Horn, Robert, Jonathan is here as well. We've got Angel, Toy Geekosaurus. Already at 2,000 backers, which is surprising. Smedberg is here. Andy Silva, Michael Miller, Ricochet Rick. We've also got Jack Lord, Diecast Nick. A lot of Nicks today. RG1 Lifelong Toy Collector is here. Chad Plouffe is here as well. I gotta get back to Chad Plouffe. He has a toy I want that's for sale. Gotham Stalker is here. Armando is here. KJ Smith. Brandon 3G. Quantum Toys is in the house. Heyo Quantum Toys. Oz is here. Judy's here. RKW. So what is Jay selling? A bunch of stuff I don't have room for, so definitely come on down and clear out some room for me. Totally Rad Dad, Jack Ward, RKW, Chris Daughtry, Chad Plouffe again, Jeremy, MB, James Lynn, Overman, Dartherian, Alias Angel, Alias. I feel like I haven't seen Alias Angel, Alias in a while. Scott Merkel, Kayla Silva, CT Jason, Wolf the Wicked, and so many more. Okay, so this set, what we have confirmed is the Robbie Reyes. That's how you pronounce that. Is it Reyes? Reyes?
Sure.
Ghost Rider. We have the vehicle with over 20 LED light features. You have it in normal street mode and like totally Ghost Ridered out mode with all the flames and everything. We have accessories for the figure. That is what you get without counting the early bird figure. And the total all-in price for that is $349.99. So $350. Once you factor in tax and shipping, you're pushing probably, $400. Unless you're a Hasbro Pulse member or whatever. It's pushing that 400 bills on this thing. So John, thoughts on the price?
This is okay. When they announced it, I hadn't seen it yet. I saw it a little later, and after you told me the price, and I thought first, okay, so you have the figure, the car. That they have to figure in some of the stretch goals. Like I'm
Yep.
sure all that stuff is calculated. Then
Yep.
I'm like, oh, 350. That's still it's a little too much.
Yeah.
But then I thought, okay, so that they're not just making the car, they also have to license the car because
it's not a licensed Dodge, though, is
exactly.
it?
This is my biggest problem with this car.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a 69 Dodge Charger. It's not. It is a car made to look like a Dodge Charger. The grill is wrong. Has no door indents. It's just a classic car. The look. That's why they're calling it the engine of vengeance.
Yeah, engine
rather than the Hell Charger.
So
Because
it is in the comics, it is an actual Dodge Charger, like it is supposed to be a Dodge Charger.
As far as I know, because in it was featured in Shield, the TV show Shield, and they did use a 69 Dodge Charger.
Yep.
So I think they're kind of skirting around having to pay licensing fees to Chrysler or Dodge, just to make a car. So then when I looked at it, I'm like, well, they're obviously not paying any licensing or likeness to Mopar, like they do with Hot Wheels. It has to pay, the fees to all the automotive makers.
And they've done it with the HasLab before. They got license officially from Northrop Grumman for the
Sky Striker, right? So then I thought, okay, so why is it that much money?
We were kind of doing back of the napkin math today while we were setting up on this, and so I don't want this to feel like we're just harping on it or anything, like trying to take this but line by line item here to understand the price. And it is really hard to factor in the 350, or where does the 350 come from?
Right.
Because, for one, all the respect to Ryan Ting and Dan Yu, like they do a great job. They do a great job with the Marvel license. They're fans, they're fans. And I think they generally have a really good pulse on, what Marvel fans want. And I think they handle themselves really, really well as well, and are really engaged with the fan community. But I have to I have to question just the overall price tag on this, just because, it's a car and it's a 1/12 scale car. And there are so many comparative 1/12 scale cars. A lot of times they're in die casts that are not $350.
No, they're like $50.
Yeah. And they're licensed. And that's where the math, I mean, maybe they're just factoring in, well, there's a Marvel Legends fans and they're not diecast fans or whatever. Right. So their pocketbook's different than a diecast fan's pocketbook. But still, like, it just the correlation, that just doesn't connect as well. Even the His tank, which felt a little spendy, was a custom thing. It had cool glowing doors. The way they used the LEDs was really neat. Plus, you had all those figures that very quickly came with it. And that was at $299 for a 6-inch scale vehicle. This is a 1/12 muscle car, which there's a billion of. There's literally so many.
Yep.
And so I feel like you have to either bring down the price to entice, or you have to like go all out, like throw in a Ghost Rider, like a classic Ghost Rider with the motorcycle, like swing for the fences if you're going to go 350. Now I know there's some tiers that we're going to dig into, some Easter eggs that were put into this trailer that we'll dig into, and maybe those will drive it across the finish line, and so be it. But just on this alone, I think the 350 is too spendy.
Yeah. And also considering there's a 9,000 goal at that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was the Hiss tank? Wasn't it like, was it 5,500 or something like that, or 7,000?
Brian Brink is working on a graph. It may be here in time for this stream.
But
so I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but we'll have some comparisons in a second.
Yeah. But I still think 9,000 is a huge number at a 350 price tag. It seems like if they're going to price it higher just to get it made, the goal number would be lower.
That's a good point. Yeah, so you're looking at $3.1 million that they need to make this thing happen. Again, I don't know, but there's no licensing of the vehicle. I guess you have the Marvel licensing that factors into that.
Yeah.
His tank was 8,000.
Okay.
So there we go. Thank you.
So with the world of inflation, they add 1,000 pieces and $50 just to get it produced.
To even have it happen.
Wow.
And
I'd really like to know the what they think. What the team at Hasbro thinks. Like, okay, is 9,000 feasible for what I consider like a second tier Marvel character?
Mm-hmm.
Is this as important as the Galactus or the Sentinel figures? Probably not.
Yep. Yeah, great. Regardless of price, I doubt there are 9,000 Ghost Rider fans. And you're right. It's like it's a lower tiered Marvel character.
Yep.
And it doesn't have like that broad cross appeal that say a Galactus. Exactly. We talked with Dan Larson on his Patreon show, which he was kind enough to let us post on the Geek Dad Life Patreon. So whether you're a patron of Toy Galaxy or patron of GDL, you can watch that stream. But he bought the Galactus because I think it's just like that. It is such an iconic character. It's a big dude.
It's like the biggest figure they've ever made. For a 6-inch scale ish.
Yeah.
Outside of like a Jack's Big Fig or something like that. Sure. Like Galactus was, it set a standard for Legends figures.
Yeah. And so it's just like it's like it just has that more broad appeal. This feels a little more niche. It's all niche, but even more niche.
Yeah.
And and again, it's like the money thing here. I don't think it's necessarily the problem. It's just what you're getting for it. Like Jamie Vaughn calling out here, give me an Ecto 1 at this scale, and I'll happily throw 350 at you, Hasbro. I would as well.
Yep.
350 for a 6-inch scale Ecto 1. It's bigger. It's bigger than this car would be. It's a big, like those Cadillacs are gigantic. But if they didn't license the dang 59 Caddy, I would be ticked.
I know, and it looks it just looks like some jalopy they threw together,
right?
But okay, so one other thing I wanted to say about the whole campaign is I think out of all the modern toy lines, I think Marvel Legends collectors have the most completists out of every other series. It's like a Marvel Legends collector that is a completist. They buy every figure, every wave, every convention exclusive, just to have every Marvel Legends, just to say they have it all.
Yep, that's true.
I don't think it goes as deep with any other toy line. I think there's a lot more picking and choosing with other toy lines.
Yep.
But I think Marvel Legends is definitely #1 for completists.
Yep, that's fair.
I think maybe Hasbro was banking on that too.
Yeah, they could be. They very well could be. Because it's done solid as they will look at the numbers. Brian just got back to me, got pulled into something at work, so unable to have a chart for today, but we'll have a chart on Sunday for sure. Toy Anxiety says there's more Ghost Rider fans than the Ghostbusters fans. Do you believe in that?
I don't want to believe that.
Yeah. I mean, again, Craig's very much in on the Ghostbusters, much more on finger on the pulse than even I am. But I would question that. But again, Marvel comics generally have a broader appeal, I think, than Ghostbusters. We have a $10 super chat. Thank you, Matt O'Brien. I would buy this if it was green, not black. If it had treads, not wheels. If it came with Steeler. Wait. I guess I dropped $350 if it was a classified no bet. Love you guys.
That is great.
Boomstick. Right. There we go. It's already over 2,300, so I'd assume it'll back, but I'm not sure about the tiers, which is where the prices were. Yeah, let's talk about the tiers, and not TEARS, TIERS. So let's look at this. Okay, here first. They gave 2 teasers. Well, one, we have this early bird backer. Same thing as the His Tank had, and it hit it the first day of the His Tank, so it wasn't even that dramatic. I don't think it'll hit the first day here. But we have the human form, Johnny Reyes, which kind of feels a little bit of a cop out as an early bird figure, because this you could just give an extra head and given us the human form. I guess he has gray jeans instead of the black jeans, but so it's cool that you're getting them. The head sculpt, it looked great, but thoughts on the early bird figure?
Yeah, this should have been a included anyway figure, not an early bird. This should have been just, if you're going to do it, make it part of the package and do something else, the early bird.
And it may very well just be part of the package if it hits. But again, it's okay. It's all right. Red Foreman with a $5 super chat. A Fast and Furious for a 6-inch VIN, or for Blade or John Wick or any other 6-inch scale. So there is a crossover appeal, but it's not a Charger. It's not a Dodge Charger. It's a Charger-ish.
It's not Dom's Charger.
It's like it's a Wish Charger. It's just like, we've got Dodge Chargers at home, and it shows this Dodge Charger at home. Craig getting a lot of heat in the chat about Ghost Rider having more fans of Ghostbusters. But going to back this to help the early bird, and we'll have zero problems canceling if tiers are not worth it. That's true. There is the canceling effect here of Haslabs. You can cancel before the last day goes through, so you can kind of push them on that.
We've seen it happen with the Rancor.
Yep. It's a non-Charger. Yeah, Toy Anxiety will definitely have plenty of sad comments after today for sure. So Robbie Reyes, you're getting that here. Why are you trying to start fights here? I will clarify. Ghostbusters collectors don't have disposable income like Marvel collectors. Why are you trying to start fights? Why are you doing it?
Oh man.
Okay. I gotta stop giving them airtime here. It's just like we're gonna get into beast here. Okay. Additional tier unlocks. I didn't realize Dr. Robotnik was in. Was in the. Okay, people in the chat. I know the last one is Mephisto. Who's this guy?
Yeah, who is this? Where's Dole when we need him?
Yeah, where's our expert?
Where's that resident comic book expert?
Let's see. Red Form, another $5 super chat. Mephisto, Lilith, Blackheart, Nightmare, Vengeance, Hellstrom, all kinds of options for the 4 unlocks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gob,
Goblin Queen.
Protons, yeah, Raleigh
Rolly
Fingers.
Fingers.
Raleigh Fingers. Like after a really bad night. That's a real lifesaver. Pretty sure it's Zero Cochrane Ghost Rider 2099.
Okay, we can go with that because that's the probably the best option we're getting so far. Mid transition Ghost Rider. Yeah.
Gene Shalit. Rancor is a tier. um
Is this how how this is gonna go? Like nobody even knows who the
Right? So okay, so it's not just me then. Like this one, I was like, I don't. But Iguana Joe, that's I guess our leading one here. Zero Cochrane, as the hint there. Yeah, I want to. He was. I listen. I love Raleigh Fingers. He was a Padre. Well, I know my Padres. Don't you worry. It comes with years of tumult and anguish. Okay. And then they basically did an MCU post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very clearly Mephisto.
Yep.
So it is, and we were talking about this before. And I feel like Mephisto is that character, at least just in the MCU. Like anytime there's some theory on who the big bad is, it's Mephisto. It's Mephisto. But it never turns out to be Mephisto. So I do. There's like some bit of joy here that finally you're getting a Mephisto in a post credit scene, but it's for a HasLab, not a
right
MCU movie.
They should put him like whatever the first tier is. Just to get it in there, because the only way you're getting a Mephisto at all right now is Diamond Select. It's an older figure. It's expensive.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
like how the Watcher was.
Mm-hmm.
Like until what was he in the What If wave?
Mm-hmm.
Was the Watcher build a figure? Like prior to that, it was Diamond Select. That was the option, and he was expensive.
Yeah. Yep. So I this, I think someone said in the chat, it was a while ago, so I can't pull it up now, but like, could this thing back on the strength of a Mephisto figure alone?
Yeah. Do you want a $350 Mephisto? Is it worth that to anybody?
Well, you're 100% right. Like that Marvel Legends collectors are some of the most focused on like being completionists, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so throwing Mephisto in this set, or if you really, this is the first time we're getting him in Marvel Legends, absolutely you're going to want to back this set, right? You could probably think to yourself, I'll just get and sell the rest of it, right? Or you probably keep it.
Yeah.
It's a great looking set, even if it's too expensive.
Yeah, because I mean, if this funds, everything goes through, everybody gets a Mephisto, chances are that Mephisto is going to be worth $150, $200.
Yep.
And everybody else might dump the car, try and flip it, even to break even and make $200 on the car.
Yeah.
But it's, see, I hate when the company does this, and like the figure that like everybody wants.
Yep.
It's going to be a tier, an unlock, and that's just, it's not nice, Hasbro. It's not nice.
Yeah.
But I get what they're doing. Like, well, can we sell a Ghost Rider car? Well, we can if we put Mephisto as the last tier.
See, now that would be dastardly if they did it as the last tier, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, a $350 Mephisto with a free car. The selects Mephisto's a couple hundred online, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's expensive. And I think he comes with the throne. The Diamond Select version. I think he comes with a throne. Maybe. It's been a long time since I found one of those.
God dang. That's a fight now. Let's see if we can. God dang, it ain't cheap. Even on here, let's just go to sold. Let's do it. Let's do it proper. 220.
Okay, 220.
That one's 63, but no cape.
And from the UK. So if you're in the UK, that's good, but not for a US buyer.
179, 132, 200, 200, 250. So yeah, damn. So yeah, maybe they're how are they not, right? We're gonna charge $350 for this thing.
Look at what they're paying for Mephisto,
right? If we put that in there,
is anybody in the chat? Has anybody in the chat backed one yet? I'm curious.
I'm sure there's 2,300 backers. I'm sure people in here have backed it already. Because Craig says this. Here's why this will fund. There's a possibility of 4 to 6 exclusive figures. So if you let me ask that question, right? Because I feel like the his tank quickly became reasonably priced once you had all the figures in it. I think in total, was it 4 or 5 figures if you included the ones you originally? It came with a lot of figures.
Yep.
So if this thing eventually could come with 6 figures, does that $350 price tag, especially if one of them is a Mephisto, does $350 become a lot more palatable to a collector?
Yeah, probably. It's still a lot.
It is.
It's still a lot.
But at the very least, unlike the Rancor, because people are saying, is this another Rancor? Unlike the Rancor, putting a Mephisto in this is that's like a figure everyone's wanting. And it's never been done in Marvel Legends before. Versus, what did we get with the Rancor? Like, until they finally did the Gamorrean Guard, right? They didn't start with the Gamorrean Guard. Or no, they start with the Gamorrean Guard. They didn't do the Rancor Keeper.
Right. They didn't do the Rancor Keeper. No, was Luke first, or was Luke already included?
No, I think it was Bag of Bones or the Backdrop first or something. But they didn't even do the Rancor Keeper until everyone was like, Rancor Keeper! And then they showed a picture like, and we're going to do Rancor Keeper! So like, at least they're understanding, okay, these are these figures are heavy hitters.
Yeah. So, okay, so saying between 4 and 6 figures included with the car, say, if Mephisto is the first or second tier, I think they're good.
Yeah.
But if he's the third or fourth, then it's questionable, right? Because you say, okay, so $350 for the set plus 4 or 6 figures, that makes sense. But do you want to pay $350 for the car, Robbie, or both Robbies, and then just one other figure? Like,
and again, that's where it just all depends on how many of these things back and how quickly can people get to the tiers. And then I think that'll shift it, right?
Yep.
It's Neil Hill. Most of those complaining about price currently are still going to buy one, and it may very well be true, right?
Yeah. Well, we're collectors. We complain about the prices. If it was a nickel, we'd complain.
So Dan Yoon's in the chat. Damn, look at those eBay prices.
Yep.
So I think, and Dan, if you want to come on and just be like, you idiots, this is why it costs this much, please, by all means, come on.
Put us in our place.
Please. More than happy to. But I think if those unlocks and you're like at 4 to 6 figures, especially like a Mephisto and some top tier figures, I think you're looking at a much more reasonably priced. Brian Brink sent in basic charts, so awesome. We're gonna look at those in a second. And I do think it becomes more reasonable. Yep. Luke was the last tier. Yep. All right, so this thing is already doing pretty darn well. It's at 2,200 backers with a target of 9,000. The important part about hitting 9,000 is it getting within the first week, so you get the early bird figure. We're going to look at charts in a second. Thank you, Brian, for doing that. But John, likelihood this thing gets 9,000 by that 7 days.
I think it's. I don't think it's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there is a I think with Haslabs, there's always that excitement out of the gate. You put your order in, you don't have to pay for it yet. I feel like the number would have been higher already right now.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pay until October 31st.
Yep.
So unless people are just not sure at all, I think that's probably the case, and I don't think it's going to make the deadline for the early bird.
I think it's got a chance. And maybe I'm just feeling optimistic here, but everybody knows Mephisto is going to be a tier. That's like 200 and something, and this one will be, I assume, more accurate or more currently accurate or whatever. I think that was a really smart play as far as like an additional tier. I think hopefully it's an attainable tier and not like the last one. And
right,
maybe it'll still hit it at that point. Who knows? But if I was them, I would reveal that soon enough so that way, it gets churning. But yeah, I think it'll hit. I think it'll hit within a week, 7 days. It's already at 2,300. I mean, you're right. There is the first day thing, but the his tank was an outlier. We're gonna look at charts in a second, but the his tank was an outlier in terms of like first day performance. Daniel, thank you for the response here. I respect all points being made. I would say if we get the early bird and all the tiers, the value will be there, but understand that it's not forever. Thank you for being cool. And I agree with Dan here. I think if all these tiers get hit and all the figures get hit, I do think 350 is reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, if you get anywhere from 4 to 6 figures, when the figures are going to be more limited than regular retail.
Yep.
And you're looking at $30 a piece, roughly now for Legends figures.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that will be a good value.
Yep. But yeah, you have to get the tiers, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the trade-off there. And we don't know when those tiers or what the unlocks are and all that kind of stuff. So we just have to wait and see.
Right.
Red Foreman, another $5 super chat. Thank you, Red. 350. What does Hasbro think this is? A He-Man 4-pack? Yeah, it's this mental math you kind of have to do with Haslabs versus, say, that set where you know what you're getting. It's 150. It's 4 He-Man figures. And while they look great, the math just doesn't add up when they're $18 a piece usually. And sure, there's extra packaging and stuff, and clearly it still hasn't sold out. It's not hitting the collector the way they maybe wanted it to. But here with any Haslab, it's like, and same thing happened with the his tank. It's like, okay, the vehicle's cool, probably a little spendy just for the vehicle, but then you start to factor in all the figures, and then you kind of have to do that math about, okay, I think that actually is pretty good. And with this set, 350 for just the car, which it looks amazing, but it's unlicensed, and you're getting 2 or at least 1, figure, potentially 2. It's spendy. But then you factor in all these additional figures, then that's where it evens out. So it's just that's the trade-off. That's the thing people have to decide here when backing it. They sold 40,000 Galactus Haslabs. This will fund easily, I believe.
Okay.
Craig's just like, he's just feeling saucy today. I don't know what it is. It's like he won a court case or something. I don't know. All right. So let me pull up the chats, or not the chats, these charts that Brian Brink made. Again, let's give a big thanks to Brian Brink for doing these. He is busy at work today and literally did these, in between two and be sad. So let's look at these charts. And again, the Hiss tank is in red, Sentinel is in blue, Galactus is in purple. And then we have the baseline of where the Ghost Rider set should be is the dotted yellow line. And then we have the solid yellow line is where it is now. So let's zoom in here to that. So it's already trending ahead of where it needs to be to back, which again, first day is always, the craziest. Now, this is the other Haslabs here factor in the entire day. We're only 4 hours into this so far. So it's trending a little bit lower than these other sets, which again makes sense because it's not the first ever classified Haslab. This isn't a Sentinel or Galactus, which is a really popular character. And I would say, just looking at that math, I think it's doing well for itself. What do you think, John?
Yeah. I mean, I guess seeing it like this compared to the others, it's doing pretty good. Maybe they need to have Nick Cage come on and do a little video.
Let me tell you, we talked about this before. If they had Nick Cage in I would have backed it just on that alone. It's just the power of Nick Cage. We finally watched the unimaginable weight of great talent or whatever that was.
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It is fantastic.
Really?
It is so good.
Is it streaming? Is it streaming anywhere? Or did you rent it?
I rented it off of Apple or whatever. It's so good. Pedro Pascal is amazing. Like, so good. Anyway, so if they had Nick Cage do anything with this, and he would have been totally for it. Exactly. Nick Cage totally would have shown up. But speaking of tiers, if they do a Nick Cage Ghost Rider, it's over, right? It's over.
Yeah. That's what they should have teased from the beginning. Should have just.
Well, maybe they don't have it as a tier. Dan, I don't know if you have any control of this, but maybe you can put that in as a tier.
Maybe that's why the price is so high, because Hasbro, propositioned Mr. Cage, and he was like, "I'll do it," but he had like a huge fee just to talk to them, and like, all right, well, we'll build it into the price. Hopefully, it makes it, and then we'll show Nick Cage as a figure, and then it'll skyrocket.
Yeah.
So that extra $50 was the Nick Cage fee.
Which, again, I am happy with that fee. I will gladly pay the Nick Cage fee. Josh Ruth, I would have backed Nick Cage on principle. Yes, already has more backers than the Riva lightsaber. I would have been more excited for a Punisher van. Scott J, price aside, I just don't know how popular modern Marvel stuff is. Like, I see more people backing it for what the extra figures might be, and that's not how this should go. Well, in this case, that's kind of how, if it is it's not as, I mean, Ghost Rider is just not the same level as like an X-Men character or an Avengers character, right? It's just, not, there's not as many fans for that. So I think in this scenario, you're appealing to a smaller fan base, but it's great they're getting this opportunity to have this kind of vehicle. That probably wouldn't this is like one of those things, like sometimes people give Hasbro grief, like, this should just be a retail thing. But this one is it's a deeper cut that's not, a Batmobile or something, right?
Right.
So you're kind of doing something a little bit more niche. And then you have these other figures that get it across the finish line, or make that 350 more palatable.
Yep.
Yeah, Nick Cage head is the last tier. Oh man, every backer gets a personal thank you video from Nick Cage. I would, in a heartbeat.
It's probably cheaper than a cameo.
Oh yeah, cameos get pricey. So, and again, yeah, even if the fans of Ghost Rider, it's more for the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah. But I mean, that's the whole point of the Haslabs.
Yeah.
Is to get it out there. That's the way that the fans can get it.
Yep.
If it doesn't happen,
Hey, we
They
tried.
didn't. Yeah, they tried.
And I backed the Cookie Monster, and I would back the Cookie Monster again and again and again until it got back.
Until it finally got made.
Until finally it got made. So let's look at these first day performances for other HasLabs, and it's doing really well. So let's zoom in here. Again, it's not the best, but it's doing real solid. So we've got Ghost Rider, and it's already over this. And again, this is looking at these numbers. There's still plenty of time left in day one here for this Ghost Rider.
Yep.
But Riva, only 421. Sail Barge, only 530. Remember, they had to extend the time on that one for that one to get finished.
Yep.
Unicron, only 798. That had to be extended. Rancor, it's going to pass Rancor's numbers on day one. And it had the same goal of 9,000. Proton Pack didn't cross 3,000 on day one. Sky Striker crossed 3,000. Now again, we got to factor in these all dropped at the same time.
Right.
Victory Saber over 3,000. Razor Crest over 4,000. Sentinel almost 5,000. Galactus almost 6,000. And then the Hiss Tank, just the anomaly in the numbers here, almost at 10,000 in day one.
That was the collective of G.I. Joe coming together.
Yeah, just like, let's go finally. The Thor 2941 says, I backed it. The price is too high for now. Pending tiers. Hasbro better bring it. I already have Mephisto on throne, so the new one better be fire. So maybe the Rancor bones will be in the trunk.
The trunk looks so plain.
Like
it's just a box.
Yep.
Like put a spare tire in there. You know, maybe a jack or something.
Yep.
Ghost Rider breaks down too.
MST fan, honestly, people stop empowering Hasbro to do this crappy practice. The HasLabs will turn into you have to back it to know what you get kind of things. Listen, if we wanted to debate the efficacy of HasLabs and what they mean to the, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say it's the most perfect system ever in the world. You know,
and it's been talked about. We've talked about it.
And that's just it. You're the collector. You vote with your dollar. And if it's not for you and you don't like this thing, then don't buy it. And I support you in that all the way. It's your money.
Yeah.
Just like John and I both exercised it this week. I didn't realize how close you were to not doing that, but we both did not buy the He-Man 4-pack at $150.
Yep. And look at retail shelves. There's almost no big items. So the toy manufacturers have to look at it and say the only way that there's going to be a larger scale item is doing a HasLab, because really the last big ticket item that hit the shelves was Castle Grayskull. And even still, I have never seen one at retail. Like I ordered mine from Walmart. I know they showed up at some Targets and one on clearance at some Targets. But I think anytime, regardless of how we feel about crowdfunding from major companies, they don't want to do big items at retail. Even on holiday seasons, they don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Nope.
So we got to take what we get. And if it's crowdfunding and you want it that bad, back it.
I'm going to put a poll in the chat right now. Does this thing get backed in time for the early bird? I'm going to ask me right now. Let us know your thoughts. Snell's World, the $2 super chat. Thank you, Snells. He-Man 4-pack should have had Origins movie He-Man. I think it's just it being 4 He-Man figures, and a couple of them we already had. Like it's.
Yeah. And they said that it was the only way we'll be able to get a couple of them. So we already know a couple of the others we'll be able to get
Yeah.
eventually elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the biggest things you do see are the Hot Wheels garages, right? Like again, I
Yeah.
bought or the Barbie play,
Yeah.
dream house or
Yeah, I mean, there's huge Imagine X play sets and things like that, like actual, like, aimed at kids
yep.
or, that kind of stuff. I
And
mean,
they
like,
never get sold.
adult collector stuff.
Yeah, and they never get sold through, and they always get clearance after Christmas, right? They're like
Mhm.
the big ticket things that are like the big present.
Yeah.
Um, and for a while now, the major toy companies just haven't done that with toy collectors or adult toy collectors. Just
Mhm.
they don't play anymore. This is how they've done it. And this is how they've effectively done it, for better or worse.
Yep.
And because I think they know, even for the kids, these big sets, they don't sell out. I always see it every single time. They clearance them out of Targets and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But anyway, but yeah, I agree. It's overpriced as a car. And what
Yep.
the set is now, and then potentially other figures make it maybe worth your while. Yeah, exactly. To be fair, most of the Lux figures with bikes end up clearance, so there isn't really a whole lot of incentive for Hasbro to go to the aisles.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even though, like, those were still $40 sets, all those vehicle sets or the bikes and figure sets. And I
Mhm.
thought $40 wasn't bad for that,
Yeah.
which makes me think, like, okay, look at that. So this car set should have been, like 150. I
Mhm.
think I think at like continuously adding, like, oh, let's put lights everywhere on it. And
With this set, I
that'll
get
make it another $100.
yeah, and maybe the LEDs did push up the price, but I kind of like they did it because it's Ghost Rider, as the flames and stuff.
Right, yeah. And if they put lights in all those bike packs, they probably would have been $100.
Probably.
Put put headlights and brake
Here's my
lights.
question. Say they just did a bike, put a bunch of LEDs in it, maybe did it for $150, maybe $200, but then show all the tiers up front that you're getting all these amazing tiers. Johnny Blaze, Nick
Mhm.
Cage, the bike with the LEDs. Do you think it sells better than this car set?
Yes.
Right?
Yep. I think more people want Nick Cage as Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
They did those figures back when the movies came out. They're not great.
Yeah.
So, the updated Marvel Legends bodies
Mm-hmm.
and Mephisto, because Mephisto he crosses the Marvel universe rather than it's not like he's just Ghost Rider's
Mm-hmm.
antagonist.
Yep.
He's all over. So yeah, a bike with those characters at 150 or $200
Mm-hmm.
probably would have been funded today. Like, hit an early
Mm-hmm.
bird or whatever they said. And it probably wouldn't have had a 9,000 goal.
Yeah. Yep. Because I assume the tooling to do turning wheels and all that kind of crap, it,
Mhm.
it, it makes it more expensive. But again, it's cool it's happening. The vote right now at 83 votes is 51% say no, it will not get back in time for the early bird. And now it's 50-50 again. So it's kind of oscillating around 50-50. Um,
Boomstick. The figures were as good as the movie.
I believe there's no such thing as a bad Nick Cage movie. They all offer you something.
Mhm. They have their own charm.
Yes. 350 should make it vroom sounds and come with a free oil change coupon for all that back it. And again, like that, the Batmobile, and again, I'm not saying it's the same, but that Batmobile from Spin Master, it did vroom sounds as you push it around. It
Mhm.
had heavy rubber wheel tires. It had LED lights. Again, not as many as this Ghost Rider thing. And it was a 3 3/4 inch scale, not a 6 inch scale, but it was $30. And 1/12 cars die cast or $60 or $50, say $100, that are licensed.
Yep. Yep. And
Uh,
Spin Master's a much smaller company.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wheels turning technology has gone up with the current inflation. Oh my god. Yeah, I think so, Mega J. I think you're right. The tiers are what's going to make this thing potentially worth the 350.
Mhm.
So I think if that's the case, you need to show them early.
Yeah.
You need to show them early. Otherwise, you risk it not doing as well. Again, I don't work for Hasbro. I don't know what their strategies are. It's just armchair quarterbacking it. All right, John. Any other things to say about this before we sign off?
No, that I said it all. Got it all off my chest.
All right. Yeah, McFarlane is making it for $80. We think. We don't know for sure if it's that scale yet, but the Batmobile, we talked about it, John, when you were out with Ryan, is going to be $80. We don't know the scale yet, but if it's a 7-inch scale Batmobile for $80,
buying it.
But absolutely, absolutely,
it's got to be a 7-inch scale. There's no. Okay, well, I can't say there's no way because between the 66 Batmobile was $30. So it's got to be a 7-inch scale Batmobile.
I hope so. I think we all hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think again, kudos to the Marvel Legends Hasbro team. You've got yourself another HasLab. It does look fantastic, and if I think you're playing the tiers right, I do think it'll end up being worth the $350, even though I don't think it's worth it right now, just on the car alone. Even though it does look pretty cool. I decided before this, I am not getting it. One, there's the Attorney on the horizon. I assume there's going to be more HasLabs at PulseCon, and I'm not a big Ghost Rider fan. So I'm not going to get it. Plus, I got a dang Thunder Tank, and I just
the Party Wagon. You already have places you need to find vehicles for.
Yeah, so I don't have room for this, and I'm not a Ghost Rider fan, so I am not buying it. John, are you buying it?
Nope.
But again, that's anecdotal. We're not Ghost Rider fans.
No.
But currently, if you saw in the charts, it's doing well, and it'll definitely back. Question is whether or not it goes within the early bird, so you get the extra figure. And it did switch. Now it's 51% say yes, it will back within the early bird. That's 117 votes. So that's the will of the people have spoken. I feel like they will, Mike, and that's why I think they did this one today. And they'll probably have more during the PulseCon. I assume.
And that's what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks away?
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And actually, no, less than 2 weeks. No, well, math.
Today's the 16th.
You're right. We've got
and Friday, and it's Friday, Saturday. PulseCon.
Yep. I was thinking this Saturday or Sunday would have been our preview or that's next weekend.
Yeah, predictions.
2 weeks away. And we'll do it like always. We'll do our predictions that Sunday before, and then we will cover. We have special Toy Geeks each night after the announcements. Maybe we'll do them a little bit early, so that way you don't have to stay up too late, John. But anyways, I think for sure they're staggering, and there will be more HasLabs announcements at the PulseCon, maybe even after the PulseCon, but we'll have to wait and see. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of the future episodes of Toy Geeks, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. Definitely want to thank people that make this show possible, our patrons. I'm going to put a full list of them right now. This actually might be sans 1 or 2 people, but I'll make sure you're in time for next Sunday. But big thanks to our patrons. And it's come hang out. If you're a patron, come hang out in the Discord. We have a lot of fun talking toys in there. I love this show. Sounds like Filipino goodbye. I gotta say goodbye at least twice. I come from an Italian family. It's very Italian as well. I think just a lot of families probably have. It's just the Irish goodbye is the one where you
just leave.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's what I do. That's my style.
But again, thanks to the patrons. Thank you for everybody hanging out in the chat tonight. It was today, a ton of fun. We will be here on our normal Toy Geeks time slot, 9:00 this Sunday. John, what's our lead story? I have no idea. Probably talk more about the HasLab.
Yeah.
See where it's at.
And whatever happened to the toy show.
Yeah, probably that too. That'll be our after show as well. So we'll see you there. And until next time, hasta luego. And goodbye. Have a good day, everybody.